Welcome everybody. Thanks for taking the time. Hope you grabbed the lunch and we're excited to show you Outbuild. So let's jump into it from intro side, just a quick background on myself, and then I'll hand it over to our buddy Chase here. I'm coming from, about 12 years or so in the industry, graduated college, worked for a GC right out of college for a few years, then went over to Bluebeam, also worked at Procore for a bit. So a lot of my background in these 12 years has mostly been in construction technology and just kind of supporting, folks in the construction, job sites. So really excited to be here at Outbuild. I'm really excited to show everybody, if it's your first time taking a look, to see if this could be a fit for your company. And I'm going to pass it to Chase. He's one of our customers, and I'll let him give a quick background on Williams and what he does over there.
Hey, everybody. I'm a superintendent for Williams Company. We're a 105-year-old employee-owned general contractor in Central Florida. Been working with Williams Company for about 12 years as a superintendent, starting as an assistant, working up to a super two now, and continuing to climb the ranks here. But do a lot of work in education, shopping centers, retail. Our company also works into hospitality, theme parks, multifamily, quite a bit of different areas. So you can kind of see that in the list there. But happy to be here. I've kind of been working with Collin and the Outbuild team for a couple of months now as we've been, taking on this program and working with it throughout our company on scheduling. So appreciate the opportunity, Collin.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, we've been with you guys. I guess you officially signed up in October, and then I think we first started talking around the summer. So it's good to have some local presence. I'm based in Port Orange in Volusia County, and Chase and the team in Williams are down in Orlando. So it's cool to be a short drive to you guys and support you. This is the first time I'd met Chase. Actually, was in person. We had a little workshop training session, and so that's how we first got exposed. And Chase ended up taking the software, by the reins and really became one of the power users there at Williams. So it's a privilege to have you, man. It's exciting to have you.
Thank you.
Jumping into what we do, obviously with Outbuild, and then this is gonna be informational and conversational, guys. So you're gonna hear a little bit from me and Chase, but I think first and foremost, just taking into account that some folks may be learning about Outbuild for the first time. From an overall problem statement, right? What Outbuild is looking to solve is that a lot of companies that we talk to from the onset is that, they're dealing with outdated software to manage schedules and the tools that are used for overall coordination. That consists of things like your look ahead, that consists of things like, sometimes whiteboards and overall, subcontractor meetings to be able to plan and say, hey, how are we trending on site? Are we all, do we have all the deliveries, planned correctly? Are we on schedule? Are we surfacing all the problems that could be happening? And so really Outbuild takes I think a modern approach to that with a web-based tool. And we want to introduce a tool that I think is more made for construction. Believe it or not, Microsoft Project is over 40 years old, came out in 1984. And so what we're looking to do, I think, too, is to have something that's really purpose-built for construction, eliminate a lot of the tools and the buttons that aren't necessary, that don't pertain to building a schedule, and then also give the field something easy to use with a look ahead. So from the get-go, from most of the folks we talk to, we hear a lot of times the same thing. It's this initial contract schedule is put together by the pre-con and estimating team. We'll use Microsoft Project, P6, some other tools are out there too, like Phoenix, Asta, Smartsheet. And that's intended to say, here, Mr. Owner or Mrs. Owner, this is the way that we expect to deliver the project. These are the milestones that we're setting in place. Job gets awarded, right? And then it gets into actual construction. There's a handoff that takes place where this schedule is broken apart, somewhat sometimes reused or rebuilt entirely. And then there's other tools like you see on the right for overall coordination that are really intended to be able to inform and update the schedule on the left. So we really want to, come up with a better solution here, right? If the Excel schedule is not referencing the latest milestones because it's not referencing the latest version of the printed out schedule, runs the risk of possibly, having delays. If there's, pull plans on the board, sometimes if it's a windy day, those might fly out. I'm just kidding. But in general, if the pull plans aren't effective enough, or there's not physical space or physical presence, that can be another cause for issues. And then of course there's the whiteboards, and even outside of that, right? You've probably seen, Chase, the people writing little schedule milestones on drywall, or the there.
That's right.
So want to just introduce a tool that we really feel like there's a problem out there, and this is a pretty common issue. Not just for obviously Williams Company, it's across the industry. It's folks that we talk to all day long. So when you really break out the process, Outbuild really, when we hear from folks, it's kind of like, it starts with the PM that builds that schedule. They turn those things into milestones to have the superintendent build a look ahead plan from, using whether it's a filtered MS project file or using Excel and any other tool. That's a different system. We want to tag that takes obviously time to break that information out and kind of make it more granular. They then have to send the PDF to subcontractors to say, hey, these are the days I expect you on site. This is the, these are the durations that I anticipate. This is the right sequence and order. And then in order to really see how that's going, typically they'll have like a weekly foreman meeting. So between the super and the subcontractors, they'll say, hey, how did we do? Do we need to resequence anything? What delays or roadblocks came up? And so that's another item that takes time, right? Just to see and look back on how things have gone week over week with the foreman meeting. But then again, wait a minute, we also have to go update the actual schedule from the look ahead plan to the master schedule, right? We have to typically, between the PM and the super, PM needs to furnish those monthly owner updates, and they have to go back to the original record document, the contract schedule, and send that owner that monthly PDF update for OAC meetings and so forth. So we're obviously tagging the areas that this takes up time with these little areas here. So impacts are not only in just time, but also our belief is that it's impacting things like rework, delays, and cost. Because if there's not proper coordination, if there's any misstep in the process of, not referencing the latest version of the schedule, or, making sure that someone didn't fully commit to the work, that can, be the cause for delays. That can be the cause for cost overruns and rework on the project. So, we hear this a lot, and really what we're aiming for with Outbuild is to give you a single system to do all the steps in the process, not have to jump from one software to another. We'll be talking a little bit about roadblocks. I'll probably ask a little bit of Chase of giving examples of that, but that's one tool that we built in there that I think is really designed to avoid the delays in the first place. Some of the other common causes for delays that we hear, again, we do this a lot, we hear a lot, are procurement related challenges. So, if you had a submittal that was long lead and you're trying to track the status of it and it kind of slips through the cracks, that can certainly impact the schedule because material didn't arrive or a shop drawing didn't give the detail that a subcontractor needed. And then another really big piece that I think we're going to touch on more is with subcontractor commitment. So how do we make sure that we have reliable commitments with our trades, such that they trust us, such that they know that we're accountable and we're holding ourselves accountable for their success, and we want to make sure that they deliver the project successfully and have a happy client. And so to avoid delays and to get better subcontractor commitments, Outbuild's built some tools there as well. So first, kind of look at the software. If it's any of the first eyes here, what we're introducing with a web-based tool is, a connected schedule and a look-ahead plan. Outbuild is going to initially have a very similar look and feel as an everyday MS project user, but I would say stripped down from all the excess buttons that aren't necessary. MS project has whatever it is, probably 150 different actions that you can do inside that platform. It's on premise. And so, if you have to find the latest file and you have to have it installed on your computer, they have a cloud version, but again, it is still somewhat complex to use. Outbuild is going to be introducing a little bit of an easier to use system there. We're also a little bit of a different model. So we adhere to collaboration is key to get more eyes on thing. And sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? If a lot of eyes are on something, we can keep everybody on the same page. So we're more of a unlimited projects, unlimited users kind of model versus a decide who gets access type of model. The other part of that is the look ahead. So if you notice that in metal stud framing, I've set on my initial contract schedule 15 days to get this item done. I'll zoom in for those that need it here on my metal stud framing. The unique piece with Outbuild is that it's got these little numbers inside them designating that I have allowed my field team to go into the look ahead. I ask them, hey, instead of using that Excel spreadsheet that you're using before, use this instead. And I say, within that same 15-day duration, build out the subtasks that you need to get that activity done. And so who better to ask that than the person that's actually assigned on the project, the person that has the relationship with the foreman, someone like Chase, the superintendent, that has studied the drawings and really knows the answer to that question, right? Like, we have 15 days to do this. What are the items that we need to do to get from start to finish for metal stud framing and so forth? And so I think I'll pause here and see, Chase, I think when we originally met, man, you'd mentioned that there was kind of a little bit of a shared vision. You understood that concept. If you want to just elaborate on that in terms of like how this helps you understand how to break out the detail once you're in the look ahead.
I did, absolutely. I've been an experienced Microsoft project user for years, and just the ability to truly visualize progress in Outbuild has been kind of a game changer for our current, the current project I'm working on, and the way I look at the software moving forward in the future. So this was. It's got Collin thought I was a little bit skeptical at first, but I kind of saw the vision, understood it, and ran with it. I really like the flexibility in superintendents having, control and flexibility in their schedule and to look at. We all draw up these perfect plans early on, and you're linking all these tasks together that everything's just going to fall in line and it's going to work together just like we drew it up. And we all know that's not really how things go in the field. So the ability of the look ahead tool to provide that flexibility to, lay out those tasks that are critical to complete that, that master schedule step, but also, allowing the flexibility of, if someone doesn't show up on Monday and it becomes Wednesday, to rework right there. You're within a small window, 10, 15 days, and you're still just kind of being able to keep a schedule in front of folks that is accurate, without, hunting through a ton of predecessors and successors and things that aren't necessarily accurately tied together, but they're tied together for the flow of the schedule. So I really enjoy, using the look ahead tool, putting the information there, and then the information feeding back to the master contract schedule of truly the progress and where you're at. So I think it's very intuitive. It's been something that our guys that have spent time with it are really grasping and starting to grasp. And, just that visibility is so important across the board. So I've had really pleasant experiences with it. I, as a superintendent, have always liked to have more control of my schedules. And this tool really is built to help assist with that. But also give the overall visibility to the project that folks are looking for from the ownership side, and just throughout the company as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think you touched on a really important part. I forgot to mention it here, but I think you touched on it. Is I think our observation when we built the product is that, hey, when you get to the actual field level, it is paramount to have that fluidity of being able to move something from one day to another and then not have like the logic break or have, the whole schedule just go into chaos with moving some small task, right? And so, we've set up that look ahead, I think, to Chase's point, with that in mind, because we're still working within the same start and end dates, we actually are intentional about not requiring logic in the look ahead part of the schedule. It is still set up in logic by metal stud framing being in order and happening before one side drywall, as you can see there. But as long as I'm within that 15-day duration, I can make a quick adjustment. I can adjust durations. I can add additional tasks just to get further detail. And that fluidity, I think, has been a big winner for why we find field folks liking, especially Outbuild's look ahead. So I'm glad you touched on that. I wanted to mention that as well. Cool.
Sure.
So what we're also doing, and I definitely feel like this is like kind of part two of a game changer in terms of why Outbuild helps and improve not only like trade commitments and participation, but even just like your own to-do list, right? Like administrative to-do lists or things that are in the way of a schedule happening on time. So first and foremost is the ability to really talk about in a weekly subcontractor meeting. And I want to hear, Chase, if your process is similar, but I think like the perfect use of Outbuild when you have your look ahead built out. Say you're the general contractor, you're the PM, and you have worked with your superintendent, and you guys have built out the initial schedule and the look ahead, and you have the sequence, at least in terms of a first go, right? Like we think these are the right tasks and the order and the duration of these items. Then you go into a weekly sub meeting and you actually pull up something like the Outbuild look ahead on the screen, whether it's your trailer, job site trailer. A lot of times those have the like just a TV in there that you're using for general coordination or pulling up RFIs and stuff. So using that to be pulled up and say, do I have this right? First of all, it's just asking of the foremen that are going to actually be putting in the work or instructing their guys to put in the work. Do I have the order right? Right? Is this going to take you 4 days? Oh, will it take you 3 days? Okay. So you make those quick adjustments. The other part of it is, I think this is key, is also just asking the question, what are your roadblocks? What would prevent you from doing that? Is there anything that we may run into an issue when we come to the door frames on the 27th? Is that, or are we good to go? All the material delivered? Are we good, on that? So, Chase, I'm curious on this because I know that you specifically mentioned that you really like the idea of involving the trades. It helps you guys be held accountable as the GC, and you're using that roadblocks tool, right?
We are, yeah, we do, just like you said, Colin. We put the schedule up on the screen. We really enjoy the ability to filter it to the important tasks. So, using the filter tool, we can get the view to all the tasks that are less than 100% complete. We can show the columns of our current progress in relation to our expected progress. And as part of our meetings, we like to go around and get those commitments and getting those commitments by saying, what is the roadblock that's going to stop you from meeting this date? What is it that you need from us? It might be something from us as the general contractor. It might be, a predecessor work from a different trade partner.
Yeah.
It can be, some inspections, or we have an open RFI. The integration with Procore on the RFIs is really kind of an incredible tool. So, as a company, we're learning and working through the process of expanding Outbuild and what it can do for us. But the roadblock tool is very powerful, and it's something that actually I was discussing with our team as far as really taking that tool as a daily meeting with our foreman and going through the roadblocks day to day through the weekly plan. So we're already doing a daily huddle with the guys and kind of discussing what the plan is, but really being able to have the schedule mobile in your hands with the iPad app, and being able to discuss that and identify those roadblocks and getting them cleared. And when you can visually show that, hey, we care, that we're doing our jobs as the controlling contractor for you guys, and getting that buy-in that we're meeting our dates as far as clearing hurdles for the team and taking away all excuses, essentially, of, the roadblocks are cleared. You've not given me a reason why we're not maintaining the schedule this week. So it gives you a lot of visibility, predicting the future, not just getting there and hoping for the best. So it has been a big benefit in our weekly meetings, and like I said, we're really gonna start driving it home more as as just a daily part of our huddles. Here we are. This is what
Yeah.
we committed to in our weekly meeting, and you don't have any hurdles this week, but you're tracking it 20% of your tasks, and it's Wednesday, so let's pick it up. That type of
Yeah.
conversation, but it is a very powerful tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we in general too, it's a two-way street, right? They eventually become I guess adept to the fact of you're asking and showing that you're a partner to them and that you care to make sure you're removing roadblocks, especially the ones that you guys are in control of, or that you might be able to lend an extra hand on, or help clear for them. But I think the other part is that it ultimately establishes this kind of a report card, if you will, so that you can see some of the more reliable folks that you're working with and collaborating with. Say, yeah, every time we put him on. And he's 3 days, he's done right on time and the data, supports it. So that might be the decision for a subcontractor to be assigned future work versus another one. So I think that's the other, great part is Outbuild's data is giving you that information, and roadblocks is a good tool to be able to measure them on it, either, on both sides. The other thing you touched on, which is great, is the use of the iPad app. I definitely feel like that's another big win, is that folks that we hear that, didn't have Outbuild, what are they doing? They're walking the job site. They're usually using like a notepad. They're having to go back, convert that notepad into their Excel spreadsheet for the look ahead. And even that too. I mean, if they're doing that on Friday and they're taking, they're trying to look at the series of notepads and they're updating the look ahead and taking 2 hours doing that. I think this is a little bit of a culture shift or a mentality shift that, exactly to your point, Chase, I say this a lot in my presentations. It's like, we need to switch from schedule updates being done on like a Friday at the end of the day, where it's just like, oh, I just need to get through this so I can start my weekend, to being more like, let's just actualize things that are going on daily, so that you're not stuck on Friday doing that, right? If you're just taking Friday, Monday through Friday, 10 to 15 minutes on that huddle meeting or wherever, you see fit, you're not, kicking yourself at the end of the week trying to catch it all up. And it's also where it's too late by then, right? Any kind of roadblocks would be already, far gone by then if you weren't discussing it more frequently. So
That's right. And we do that as we call it a percentage walk, just
yeah,
take as you're walking through, taking the iPad and
yeah,
just going, you're already walking the job, you're looking for what's going on anyway. So
yeah.
we'll just say, this is going to be a percentage walk, and we'll go and just literally look room to room, and you can update it live there in the field, which is very beneficial. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and iPad specifically too has a function when you're plugging in percentage. If you're not using a little slider for the percentage from 0 to 100, there's like a days remaining field. Have you used that, Chase?
I have, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good too, because if sometimes if you don't know like an arbitrary percentage, you're like, I don't know what percentage this is. I know it's a little bit done, and they told me it's going to take them 2 more days. You can plug that in, and we'll do the math for you. So it's a cool feature. Awesome. Well, from here, obviously, it's a piece of it is adding actual powerful integrations as well. So you touched on a little bit of it, Chase, with the RFI integration. Procore is a big integration partner with us. We're very deeply integrated with them, and we're also excited to announce that we're in the works for an Autodesk integration too. So kind of the other big construction management software out there that's making some waves in construction. So we're excited about that. What we are especially doing with Procore right now, and we'll continue to build out with Autodesk in the future, is being able to pull in directory folks. So you can say, when you're building out your look ahead, you can pull in Procore subcontractor directory so that it's easier to build that look ahead in there. There's a schedule update button. So there's a dedicated button inside of Outbuild, allows you to push that schedule into Procore. What that really adds value on is that you can then link your submittals directly to it in Outbuild. So it'll show submittals that you care to track the status of and make sure that they get approved in time. I'll show that a little bit more in the demo in a minute, but plugging in with submittals is really key to be able to just track, again, to that one of those critical areas for delays is procurement related items. So That's another streamlined process. And then with RFIs, specifically what we're doing there, which Chase touched on, is we have them working in Outbuild's look ahead in the roadblocks section. So when you are going and classifying, what are your open roadblocks, and it'll show like your open versus your expired versus the ones that have been cleared already. We will automatically pull in a new RFI from Procore and bring it in as a draft roadblock so that the field team can see it. They can, read more about it really quickly, link over to the Procore RFI and read about it and say, hey, you know what, this is an actual roadblock. This will affect my activity in the next, 2 weeks. Let me assign it to that task so I'm tracking it. So that's a great integration for sure. And again, we're excited about the Autodesk one as well. All right, I think one other thing to touch on before we're in the demo is just that we really make a big investment on our side too, and I'd like to hear, I guess, on your end too, Chase, with how onboarding and support has been, and then also ongoing support. But what we really value, I think, and I know from my experience, like Bluebeam back in my day, we had really good support. I think vendors really owe it to our customers to just understand that, have empathy for people, that it's going to just be difficult to transition from one software to another. To also just know that, hey, some people just need a little bit more handholding and support than others, and really to give them that support is really key to their success. So Outbuild does include, customer success manager with everyone we sign up. There's also like a live chat that's built in that allows you to get quick support if you ever need something. I think you've definitely used the chat, right, Chase, on the inside the platform?
I have, yeah. So, as far as support goes, I've had a lot of success there. So, the knowledge base and the training center, for one, within the program is extremely helpful. It's very intuitive. There's a lot of information there, really, working through the tools and understanding them. But on the occasions I have needed some assistance, just hitting the chat tool. Most of these folks I've have been in contact with at some point or another. Very responsive. If you're having any sort of issue, they get checking into it immediately. I've always had a turnaround answer very quickly. It was never just kind of one of those conversations where you feel you're not talking to a chat bot. You're talking to a person that understands the program, and they do follow up, from my experience. So we have the conversation, and sometimes in the chat the answer might not be available that second, but the information I get back is, I'm going to look into this, and then there actually is follow up. It is looked into, and then a response comes, and that's been very valuable. So the support from my end of things has been really impressive.
Awesome. Glad to hear it, man. Yeah, we have some people that we'll see in the chat, I'll monitor it, and they ask specifically for someone on there, like, has Ben there, or is Skylar there, or Brittany there? So it's cool to hear. We really put a lot of pride into the team and giving good support. So thanks for saying that. Just to touch on why I think this originally was a challenge for you at Williams, Chase, I want to hear, I think, especially on the part where you've told us that this is definitely a part that helps in overall training and getting some up and coming, trade partners involved. The other part we already kind of touched on, which is just like visibility into schedule updates and action items and roadblocks. So if we could just maybe, take another couple minutes to talk about that first bullet, why this has been such a slam dunk for you in terms of, getting other trades involved on those meetings, but also, you've shared that Outbuild's a really good kind of introductory training course or training mechanism for assistant supers, maybe that are just out of college or just starting to get into construction.
Yeah, I mean, as I've come up through the ranks, like, I enjoy training young folks. I get a lot of our younger guys sent to us, our field engineers, assistant superintendents, to work with me on projects and kind of, just go through some of our standard operating procedures. In those, I enjoy spending time with guys, teaching our various softwares, teaching scheduling, and, even through Microsoft Project for years, I've sat down and tried to work with assistants and younger guys and getting them involved with scheduling. And what I find frequently is that just the interface is not very intuitive. It's intimidating. There's so much there that's not necessarily needed for the basics of building out a schedule. And if folks aren't able to follow up with that training immediately and get their hands on a schedule and work in it consistently, it's just very difficult to do. And it was for me early on as well, including taking multiple days and weeks of training on some of these programs. But with Outbuild, the interface is extremely easy to use. I've been working with some of our younger guys and just kind of teaching them the basics of it, and they pick it up. And week to week, we just take a little training session on Fridays and start to go through the basics of scheduling. And they're able to pick it up. They're able to understand where we are in projects, which has been a struggle at times. I mean, if you're looking at a project schedule that has 1,500 tasks, and you're trying to figure out where I truly am, it's difficult even for experienced folks to do. So for the young guys to be able to see, progress versus expected, here's a line in the sand of where we are and what we're working towards, and just the overall interface is so much more approachable. The feedback that I've been getting with the guys that I've been working with is that they see the value in it. It actually gets them excited to look at some scheduling for the first time. So I'm kind of a schedule nerd. I enjoy it. Like, it's something that I've done, but I really enjoy Outbuild because it does make it easier. Some of the basics on of the tasks themselves, cloning tasks, some of the stuff that carries over. It's just very intuitive. It's easily teachable, and I feel like the young folks that I've spent time with, they really do understand, comprehend, and retain that information. So that's been a big win. I don't feel like I'm wasting my time, working with guys that are just going to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get it," and then never look at it again. Because we all want to take some all superintendents want to have more ownership of their projects. I mean, that's what we do. We're kind of obsessive about it, but this is a tool as we're learning. That's just I see there being just a ton of value in it. But training is so much easier than other programs. So the guys are picking it up quickly.
Awesome. Yeah, and I kind of steal this from another one of our customers that use this, but a cool tip that you guys can even do at Williams for anybody that gets Outbuild, because we have an unlimited user model. We have actually seen it being a good candidacy tool. So let's say if you guys were hiring a prospective superintendent and you want to see how good they are in terms of building a schedule, and you give them some example drawings. I've seen some of our customers give them temporary access to Outbuild, and they'll say, "Okay, show me what you got," and they can actually build that schedule out to really see if they have some of the, see if they're worthwhile on the Superintendent 2 title or, whatever. So I think that's if you guys aren't doing that, I think that's a good tip for you, that it could
we've been doing a lot of practice schedules. So the ability to have non-productive schedules on a project.
Yeah.
Just, name one for each guy and say, "Hey, this is yours. You're getting in there and you're starting to build." And we work through those steps, and that's been really helpful as well.
That's awesome. Cool to hear. All right, cool. I think we're at the point where we can show you guys a little bit of Outbuild in action. Got about, I'd say less than 10 minutes left, so I'll make it fairly quick. But jumping into the platform here now, you can see that I'm in the homepage of Outbuild. Real unique part about this is that because we're web-based and we're allowing you to see all your products in one place, we have 2 different homepage views. You have what's called the card view, where you can see your projects, but also this cool timeline view here, more aptly, codenamed schedule of schedules. It's a good way to see all of your overall portfolio level view. If you're, an executive, you're a vice president or a COO or something, you want to see at a glance, all of my project schedules, which ones are starting soon, which ones have progress, which ones have variance, which is the whether it's ahead or behind schedule. We also have a functionality which is pretty cool too. So is filtering by subcontractor manpower. So this filter here allows me to say if I in the Orlando area want to make sure that I am only looking at a particular subtrade and I'm not overcommitting them or stretching them too thin, I can apply this filter, have it slice out where they are in the look ahead schedules across those, even zoom in further and kind of say, okay, when I apply that filter, it does show that we have 13 projects, but there's only, a few overlap here. They should have the manpower to support that. We can award them this additional job. So helps especially in that front too, just to kind of think through and avoid some of those pitfalls where you're overcommitting subcontractors at a job award. So definitely a cool functionality there on the main homepage there. Now, when I jump into an actual schedule, I'll just show you a few quick things and tips and tricks on the schedule module, and then we'll jump to the look ahead. So first thing you'll see when you jump into it, you're given this clean interface. You can see there's not an overkill of buttons here. There's not, a huge steep learning curve. A lot of it should be familiar for people that had MS Project, just seeing the activities, start and end dates, durations, and your predecessors and successors. Cool thing with Outbuild is we've also introduced tools that make it easy to build a schedule from scratch. I know Chase actually had taken apart his schedule and built one from scratch for his project, the target one. What you can do is actually, if I want to add activities underneath foundations, you just click the plus button as many times as you need new activities. That creates them underneath that summary bar here. I'm going to enter a couple durations in here. I'll say 15 on that one, 20 on that one, and 12 on this one. Now I have durations and no logic. Rather than actually having to type that information in like you would in MS Project, with Outbuild, you can apply relationships of like a finish to start or a start to start just using this drag and drop. So I can apply a quick drag and drop to tie that in next to foundations. If I want to do the same thing for start to start, it's just starting from the front end of this new activity, and that's tie them in together. The other nice thing is you can do this in bulk. So if you created a bunch of activities together that you knew were going to be in call it like a waterfall logic with finish to start across them, you can actually, let's say I want to tie all these all together in there. I can link and apply that and have it all connect to it that way and just have that write the logic in for me. So what we're after here, especially in the schedule, is to just save you time building a schedule. It shouldn't be this arduous task to be able to put the initial baseline contract schedule together, and then you're reserving that detail for the look ahead. So you can really see here, my progress, these items that have that number inside them, even the schedule itself, right? I only have 89 overall activities, and all my detail, things that are, say, 5 days or less, are being reserved more for that look ahead so that the sequencing, the coordination can happen inside these activities in the master level. A couple other quick things is we can easily turn on critical path. We get that a lot, is how do you do critical path? That's a really easy toggle that you can turn on. To get it into Procore is just a couple clicks. You just use the schedule update button and that sends it to Procore. It has a really quick way to get it published into that system. What that then enables you to do is make that submittal linking. And so quickly, just to say show what the submittal workflow is. If I'm building my submittal log in Procore and I know that there's going to be certain activities that need to be linked to them, what Outbuild does is we directly link with a section inside the submittals called submittal schedule info. That allows you to make that connection inside of Procore to say, this shop drawings needs to be with this activity in the schedule. I can plug in a lead time for it. I can give it a design team and internal review time. What then happens is Procore and Outbuild are then in sync. We will back calculate based on that lead time what your submit and return date should be. And then ultimately the required on-site date is populated based on where that activity is in the schedule. So, this required on-site date for the shop drawings is on 4/3 because that's when that activity starts. We will then classify it to go from blue to red once I'm within that lead time window. So it's really just designed to say, hey, pop a flare out, notify the team, or have a quick visual cue to see which submittals do I have that are a little outstanding that I need to maybe apply some more pressure on and make sure that we're not going to be delayed as a result. So that's kind of the functionality there. Over in the look ahead. So again, this is the master schedule, should support all that you need. You can export out PDFs and reports for OAC meetings. In the look ahead module, just to show what that looks like, what Outbuild does first is will ask of you to pull down your activities from your master schedule that you want to build look aheads from. So typically you'll see this panel come out first and say, hey, do you want to see look ahead activity or schedule activities that are 4 weeks out? Do you want to see 8 weeks out and so forth? Once you have selected the activities that you want to see, in this case, we've applied a filter for activity 14, 15, and 16. Pretty straightforward. I hit apply filter. Then I'll see these summary bars created, right? Then I know that I basically have 17 days to get through this item, 10 days to get through there, and 10 days to get through there. And really, it's that simple. At that point, after I applied a filter, I'm just going to be clicking the plus button to add activities underneath it. I'm going to move it to where it is and then classify who's doing it and set a duration. So it's really those quick clicks that I think Chase was alluding to before, that you need that fluidity. You don't need a big steep learning curve there. The progress is directly linked to it. So if I'm plugging in progress on these items, that's rolling back to the schedule for me. So that's a real key functionality that I think is really driving good adoption and good field usage, is that if I just need to make an adjustment or increase the duration of an item, I can easily do that. The other thing that we've done, which we didn't touch on, I think in the slides, I think it's important to show, is communicating if you need extension on time. This would be in the case where maybe a roadblock wasn't sufficient. Maybe we hit a weather delay or something, and it's going to cause the last item in this activity slab on grade to be extended from, let's say, 17 days to at least another week or so. So when I move an activity out there, what I'm doing is it's really identifying that, okay, this is now going to be on Friday the 11th. It was supposed to be done by Wednesday the 2nd. What we do is flag on the outside there on the end date piece of the look ahead to say, hey, hold on a minute, this is outside of your Gantt criteria, your bowling alley bumper rails, so to speak, to say that if you need more time, you can hit this button to request that additional time, and also see how it affects the overall schedule. So, this is going to cause 7 more days to the overall slab on grade activity. I'll say, weather cause delay in inspection. And then if I can spell right, and then I'll just hit send request. Now, when I go back to that activity for ID 14 on the schedule, I can make that assessment. I can also review this with the team, or even set permissions. Maybe you want to have a PM be the one that makes the call and actually approves this. But if anything, I can, as the superintendent, really approve or preview how that's going to impact things. So this orange card designates back on slab on grade, I have an open modification request to review. This is the one that I just sent from the look ahead. And then when I hit preview, it shows that change in the baseline on all the activities that it's affecting. So where I was 2 days ahead of schedule on slab on grade, if we do accept and approve this change, and actually apply that, it's not only affecting slab on grade, we're going to be 5 days behind that, but it's also affecting these logically connected activities as well. So this gives you guys a good ability to really see the impact there. And I guess I'm curious too, Chase, from your end, do you guys use this fairly regularly?
We do, and that's actually one of the biggest benefits I think in the program is, early on, if you have, people tend to forget about the delays and the reasons and what is stacked up and how you got somewhere. So if you end up in a project that is coming down hot, and you're kind of looking back and like, oh yeah, well, I did have that hurricane and I did have that to deal with, and we forgot that the generator was 2 months late showing up, and some of those things, a lot of the supply chain issues that have happened over the last couple of years. It's really easy for ownership and folks to just forget that. So, we preach to the guys that we are working our butts off to stay within the bumpers, that, we don't want to get into that modification request. But if we do, having that log that truly shows from day one to the end of the various modification requests and what the issues were, whether it's subcontractor performance, whether it was a weather issue, whether it was a utility delay, any of those, to me, that is just such a powerful tool to have the ability to really keep that in front of your owners throughout the project, and just it being a consistent part of your log of like, hey, this is why we're battling, or we need to accelerate, is because of these several modification requests. And hopefully they're not self-inflicted, but if they are from your team, it puts accountability on them.
Yeah.
And if you have a trade that is really dragging, and you're showing that you are causing ripple effects through the schedule, it's a great tool to hold folks accountable when those uncomfortable conversations of acceleration, et cetera, come up. So
Yeah. Yeah.
very powerful.
I've heard a good spin on the bad news doesn't get better with age is bad news isn't bad news if it's early enough, right? So if you're communicating to the owner to say, this is what's going on, at least you're proactive at telling them instead of telling them way later, right? So that's the goal there. All right, awesome. I know I went a little bit over on time, so I'm going to leave this up here and then hand it back to Alex just to close things out. But just want to say thanks for everybody that has hopped on. Hope this was useful. We're happy to answer any questions if there was anything in the Q&A. And thank you, Chase, for being on, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Collin. Thank you, Chase. That was great. That was a really, really good overview. So thank you both. So if anyone else does have questions, we do have one so far, but if anyone else wants to sneak a question in there, use that Q&A function at the bottom. So one question directed at you, Chase. What would you tell an organization that is hesitant about getting supers to use Outbuild?
I guess I would wonder why. We want superintendents to be in control of our projects. We are the boots on the ground. We're the folks that are driving the work home. Having superintendents that are truly bought into the schedule, looking at it daily, working with it daily, is such a powerful tool. It's when you get into that habit of the weekly update with your project manager, and then you're just distributing a schedule with meeting minutes, and it's so easy to lose track of the overall site of the project. But this tool keeps the goal in front of you. It keeps the ability to really start anticipating what it's going to take to make that next milestone. So obviously early on, you're working with your project management team, you're working with pre-construction and building out the basics of the schedule. But when you get your superintendents to buy into scheduling and they really take ownership of it, in my career, it has changed my trajectory as far as driving projects. And I just feel like, if your generals in the field are going to be that guy, then they should have the ability to work in the schedule and keep that goal in front of them. So I think that's a very valuable tool.
Yeah, that was a great question.
Yeah, and a really good answer too. Thank you, Chase. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A so far, so I think you all may have answered quite a few of them as you went. So for anyone who is ready to continue the conversation, maybe you want to get Collin into a one-on-one call and ask him some really detailed questions or explore your specific use cases, bring some other of your team members along. You can use this QR code to get to the demo booking form. So that'll ultimately get you set up with a meeting with Collin. Or if you find it easier, just feel free to shoot him an email and he can coordinate with you.
Yeah.
So if there are no further questions, then I guess we'll call it a wrap. Thank you so much, Collin, and especially thank you to Chase. It's so valuable to have your direct insights as an actual user of Outbuild. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, can't thank you enough, Chase. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for attending. We hope to talk to you again soon. Bye bye.
Have a good week. See ya.